Hello, world. Today, on the episode of The Dark Truth, we have a very special guest. My partner in anti-violence. Not my partner in crime, my partner in anti-violence.
That's right.
Dr. Joe Couri. How you doing today?
Doing fine, man. How's everybody out there?
Great to have you. When I say my partner, meaning we are literally partners out here in this war against fighting against the narrative that is fostered through popular music, popular culture, to convince our kids and our youth that violent behavior isn't just okay, but it's cool, it's fascinating, it's popular. This is my partner. Joe, tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you come from.
Well, I'm a native Peorian and a retired physician, singer-songwriter, and my partner War and I wrote a song called Don't Start. There we go, right there. And this is a message to our youth: don't start gangs, drugs, bullying, stay in school, be a leader. And we go around schools, community centers, and I think we're making a difference with some of our kids.
You think, Joe?
Yeah, I think so.
Look, man, let me tell you, man, these kids, they love Don't Start. And when you understand the power of music, you understand the power of influence, the power of using your music ability to foster positive messages and positive ideas in the minds of our youth today. So with that being said, we're going to start this episode on talking about the problem. The problem that's plaguing urban communities and a lot of communities around the world that adapt today's hip-hop culture and hip-hop music. So obviously, me being a hip-hop artist, one of the best in the game, Joe being like second best in the game,
Right.
second best rapper. This album coming soon. It's called Don't Mess With Joe. But I'll just play it. That was a joke. But Joe being a phenomenal songwriter, the one that came up with the idea, hey, let's do a song for the youth called Don't Start. And us recording at the same studio with Gary Emanuel. Shout out to Gary Emanuel at Mirror Image Studio. This guy has been with me in my musical journey for over a decade. I mean, from recording, production to distribution. Gary has been there along my journey. And Joe too.
Yes, 20 years with Gary.
Yeah, 20 years for Joe. So, and Gary the one brought us together. So shout out to Gary Emanuel for bringing the Don't Start duo together. Gary did that. Now, he told Joe, he said, if you want to reach the kids, you got to speak their language. So Joe called me up. Gary gave him my number. Joe called me up, said, hey, I got this song, this idea. I want to reach the youth. I said, okay, well, you got to come to the hood. And we got to work on this song in the hood because we need the energy that's in this community to impact this record. This is where it's going down at. This is where we need to write the song at. Joe pulled up in his drop top Audi with his guitar, like, let's get it.
We did it.
And the rest was history, you know. So, now, when you compare Don't Start to today's popular music, to what most of your kids is listening to every day, and you're a musician, Joe. Tell me one of the probably most worst songs you ever heard outside of hip hop music. So country songs, something that you think might entice someone to maybe go kill somebody.
I can't think of one.
Not one, Joe? What about from Elvis? Elvis was a bad boy. We had Jailhouse Rock. I remember Jailhouse Rock. He used to be.
That's right.
The Jailhouse, I used to like Jailhouse Rock. If anything, it made you want to rock in the jailhouse, but, but it didn't make you want to kill nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, no songs, Joe? No other genres?
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Now, I could think of probably 100 to 300 hip hop songs off the top of my head that promotes violence. So when we ask ourselves, Joe, how powerful is music?
Well, you know, we all grew up listening to music, and you know, music as we talk about when we talk to kids. You know, you learn your ABCs by music. We have music in movies, music on TV, music in sports, and you know, music sparks emotion. And
So from the outside looking in, because obviously, you know, you're kind of from the outside looking in on the urban culture, but for the past 4 or 5 years, you've actually been on the inside, you know, experiencing it, seeing it, witnessing it, rapping it, living it, you know, from the inside. But from the outside looking in, just come in encounter with hip hop music, was it something that was inviting to your ear when you heard it?
well, the beat, you know, that beat, you know, is
Beat.
pretty powerful. The beat,
Beat pulls you in.
the beat pulls you in.
Beat is enticing.
Definitely.
That's music though. Instrumentals, we love music. No matter, you know, the message behind the music is still good music. Can't deny good music. If people make a hot beat is a hot beat. I don't care who rapping on it. It could be garbage or it could be somebody with a message. But when we talk about the problem, and we talk about the problem has never been the beat, because the beat only opens you up. That's what music does. It opens you up. But then the words and the message, it is what goes in.
Yep.
So when we talk about what is the problem that's plaguing our youth today, it's what goes into them. So when we talk about mental health, you're a doctor.
Yep.
When we're dealing with mental health, is that a disease or is it curable?
Depends on the nature of the problem and what the diagnosis is. But some mental health issues I think are curable, or maybe a better word is controllable.
So controllable is treatable.
Treatable. Yeah, that might be a better word.
Right. Because curable is kind of saying like it's gone and won't never come back, right?
Correct.
But obviously we know with mental health, a lot of things could trigger you to
Have a relapse.
have a relapse.
Sure.
So that probably be safer to say it's not curable, it's treatable.
Treatable. That's correct.
So how do we treat mental health that has been caused by a problem that's been going on for over 30, 40 years? So the problem started at the beginning of a music and a culture that started on a high pedestal, speaking about black power empowerment, you know, fight the power against corrupt governments and systems, to gangster rap, which promoted black on black violence. So how do we change the dynamic? Because that was late 70s, early 80s. That was over 40 years ago since NWA and the introduction of gangster rap. So this problem isn't just in today's youth, it's in the generation that came before them, which is the parents, including me. I definitely was a victim and definitely perpetuated in hip hop, negative forms of hip hop music throughout my life, especially in the 90s. Definitely. And I know personally the effects that it have on the mental and how it can alter your mood, the way you think, the way you view situations, people, all that. So, from your understanding, how do we tackle a problem that's been going on for 30, 40 years through at least 3 generations?
Well, we're trying to do our part. We're trying to get our message out, the Don't Start message. And I guess you call it generational change, trying to work on the current generation, the current young generation, trying to reach as many of those kids and youth as possible to try to make them understand the dynamics of the gangster music, the drill music, talk about drill music, help them understand what happens, the effect that it has on them, and getting them to realize that they need to try and listen more to positive music, positive messages.
So we talk about the problem, gangster rap, drill music. We talk about the power of music and the influence it has over all people. And then we talk about when you mix negative message and music together, you have what we've been experiencing for the past 40 years. And through all that, you say the solution is music. Makes sense.
Yeah.
If the problem started with the music, then the solution has to come through the music too, which is an amazing analysis and way of understanding how this thing works. Because anytime you're trying to get a person to stop doing something, usually they have to have an alternative.
Right.
And if they don't, it makes it harder for them to stop. Because like you say, the beats is hypnotizing. The beats is addicting. So we still need those hot beats. But we don't need the message. So if we could keep the hot beats on that high level with more positive messaging in the music, problem solved. So, because we got to remember, this problem wasn't always around, correct?
Correct.
In the 40s, 50s, and 60s, you would never see the level of violence you see amongst young black men killing other black men. They had real systemic racism to worry about back then.
Right.
Real economic inequalities going on, civil rights movement, all that. So black people had to come together because of systemic racism and poor economics.
Right.
So those can't be the problem. Only dynamic that has really changed since the 60s and 70s is the music. So the problem wasn't always around. that means we could get rid of the problem. The problem is doable. It's not a cure because you're always going to have people out there that probably still want to make it. But we don't have to support it. We don't have to endorse it. Let me ask you a quick question. What if this type of music, what if country music had took that turn?
I think it would have been shut down pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly?
Yeah.
What about, let's say, rock and roll? Rock and roll, it was, a little wild.
Yeah. There's a little bit more leeway, I think, in rock and roll and in people's minds, but I don't think it would be real popular if the same messages were graphically.
If they was telling each other to kill each other.
Yeah, in as graphic a terms as what's in the Bible. I don't think that would fly.
Wow. So do you believe there is any type of system behind the music that needs to change too?
Well, the biggest system is the industry, music industry, and that's a tough one to implement.
Right. Because you can't tell like a private business owner how to run his business. But we cannot support that business. And we could choose what businesses we want to support. And that's how we change the dynamic. That's how we change the narrative. Dr. Couri, I want to thank you for coming to the community, having this grandiose idea to do this song, Don't Start, to reach the youth. And we have spoken over, 3,000
kids, yeah, over the last 5 years. Sure. We have kids literally running up to us when we're at events, saying, I saw you at the last event at Glen Oak School.
So that
Lincoln
means the
School.
message is sticking,
Yeah.
and they remembering.
And they'll say, I tell my friends about don't start.
So imagine the trickle effect of that.
Don't start. There it is on our shirt.
You came up with that idea, Joe. And Joe, this isn't the only thing Joe does. Joe does things like this for many of charities. Many of charities. This is genuine coming from Joe. This was never about profiting, money, none of that. This was genuinely, what can I do to help solve the problems that's going on in the African American community with kids, with the youth specifically. And that's been our primary target base. And talking to the kids let us know a lot of times their influence comes from their parents, and we tell the kids, hey, don't never be scared to tell Dad, hey Dad, isn't that song wrong? He's talking about killing people, Dad. He's talking about this, and open up that dialogue and that discussion with your parent, because you might be the one saving their life. How many kids have we heard talk about their parents being in jail? Their parents and people in their family getting killed. How many kids that we've seen and talked to that said they didn't see somebody get murdered, get shot?
More than we would like to have heard.
So you definitely is making a difference. Don't Start is making a difference.
Yeah.
We appreciate everything that you have done and is continuing to do throughout the communities with Don't Start and everything else that you do, because we know you do a lot. You're real busy with giving back. This Joe needs a philanthropy award. Remember that next time y'all have ceremony. Joe needs a philanthropy award. Straight up, sign him up.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, but anything to say, any message for the kids and the people out there watching from the two kings. You see we sitting like kings, 'cause that's who we is. We both kings.
Sure.
Ain't no big eyes or little U's around here. You know what I mean? We on the same team. We see the same objective. So.
But I do want to say that, you know, Warren's very passionate about this. He does a great job, you know, with his music, and a lot of positive songs. I'm impressed, you know, with your body of work. Gotta stay motivated. One of your best songs, I think, anti-bullying song. No excuses, you know, telling the kids personal responsibility. You know, that's where it starts.
Definitely, I appreciate that, and I'm still telling people to this day, ain't no excuses. When people be making up something, ain't none. We don't make up excuses. Personal accountability, personal responsibility, that's how you take the power over your life. And you don't give it to nobody, except God. That's about it. You give it to God. Don't give it to nobody else.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate you, Joe. I know you're a busy man, got to get up out of here. We wanted to give y'all some more truth and enlighten y'all about our passions to change the music and change the dynamic that's going on in all the communities that have been affected by this type of music, culture, and lifestyle that we don't need to have in order to be successful. And we need to start holding these labels accountable for holding this standard over black music, that you have to rap like this in order to be successful. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Joe.
Yep.
Appreciate you. And another episode of The Dark Truth, and we'll be back after these commercial breaks. It ain't no commercial breaks, because we about to break.
That's right.
Can I live? Yeah. Can I live like a billionaire? Travel almost anywhere. Mansions up in every state. I feel it coming in the air. It's our time to take over and replace this fake hover and this industry standard that say you make it only if Jay know ya. More black billionaire women in this industry that ain't Oprah. We no limit to the bank soldiers. Ain't no limit to them bank notes. And money too big for your wallet. Need a bag now cause you can't fold it. Entertaining the mobbing, what's the option? Nah, we bank owners. Police what's like outcasts, trying to find that stank on ya. Dress so fresh and so clean on the scene, he act like he ain't know him. Can he live without hate on him? 100 acres with a lake on it. The oldest rule in the game is that it take money to make money. Invest in your own craft, do the math, make niggas wait on it. God is in all black, that's a fact, ain't no debate on it. Can I live like a Rothschild? My family the ones that make money. You trying to take you a block and these are ones that rob and take country. Live your life. Can I live? Can I live without you blocking me from getting rich? Can she live without you watching her? She getting thick. Can I live like Michael Jackson? Yeah, cause this is it. My life. Can I live? Can I live without you blocking me from getting rich? Can she live without you watching her? She getting thick. Can I live like Michael Jackson? Yeah, cause this is it. Can I live like an astronaut? Like really, I've been at the top. The difference between space and time is one you not gonna have to watch.